So I want to talk to you about Microsoft today. Ticker is MSFT. This one got earnings yesterday. We had our earnings. It actually was pretty good, and we saw a gap up. I'm on the daily chart, by the way, of this chart here. And we did see a gap up from the previous low, which was like around 270. It went all the way up and opened around like 282. Very big gap up, so strong earnings supposedly. However, we did end up falling back to almost where we closed, or where we opened during that day. We did go up during that day all the way past 290, but then fell all the way back down, which shows some weakness. Now, again, we did gap up a lot, so that is very strong. However, it was not able to hold over this range during the day, and we fell down quite a bit after that from literally 290 all the way down to 283 where we closed. So the thing that I'm concerned about for Microsoft, we go to the weekly chart right here to get like a little bit more of a longer term view or midterm view of it, is this big head and shoulders pattern that we see on here. And a head and shoulders is a very bearish pattern that has a very consistent track record of being correct. Remember, we always want the highest probability setups as traders where we could get the best risk reward for our account and whatever trade we're trying to get. And this right here is a very bearish setup because we have this left shoulder right here. We have the head, and then we have the right shoulder that formed, and we're close to that point where it starts to go downhill and really falls hard. So we need to be careful here. First of all, because yes, you need to be careful. This is one of the largest holdings of the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. So that's one thing in itself. Even if you're not trading this, you do need to be careful because this is like an Apple or Amazon, basically in terms of the holdings that they have in those indexes. So if this thing starts to go downhill, you're going to have a lot of pressure on something like QQQ, which already is super weak. Like, look at this thing. This thing has been falling down. We've been in this corrective process for a while now. Literally closed near, or actually it went down all the way to the lows of year. So we had the lows of year get touched today, which is very bearish on this thing. It did gap up a little bit, or not gap up yet, but we did see some pickup after hours so far because of Facebook's earnings, which were really good. But it'll be interesting to see how this acts if something like Microsoft did fall down below. So this thing's hanging on a thread. It's right above my demand zone that I have highlighted here. That's the purple thing, if you were wondering. This is a demand zone for this stock. So each time it's touched it, all the way back here, over here, over here, and over here, it's bounced up over this. So there's a lot of demand in here. Once this thing does fall apart, though, and we have a close that's definitively under this level, that's when things go downhill like I was talking about earlier, and you really need to be careful with the general market as well as if you are in Microsoft, because there are a lot of long-term holdings in there. So there is a potential downward play on this if we do have that confirmation below. Otherwise, as of now, it's probably going to chop in between here. But this is something to watch, especially if you trade the indexes like the S&P 500 and QQQ, because you need to know what the big tickers are doing, kind of to get a sense on where the indexes may go. So just wanted to share with this with you today. If you have any questions, you could ask them below in the comments, or if you want to join our Discord group, it's free. Link in the description. You could ask them there. But otherwise, have a very profitable rest of your week.